Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. No manager yet and no director of football as Ross Wilson snubs Rangers' job offer. Ally McCoist says it's absolute garbage and nonsense to suggest a director of football will solve Rangers' problems. And Wenger's hanging by a thread after Arsenal's humiliation in the Champions League. Yeah, just a few of the talking points on the programme tonight. Alan Ruff, as ever, with me, Peter Martin, our boot room guest tonight, I'm delighted to say, is former Rangers captain Barry Ferguson. He's here as we continue our build-up to the Old Firm game on Sunday. So, Director of Football, Ross Wilson, as you can see from the newspaper headlines, has snubbed the offer from Rangers. He's going to stay where he is at Southampton, so the search goes on. Still no manager in at the moment. Barry Ferguson, are you a fan of the Director of Football and the manager, first team coach?
I've been at some clubs where there's been a Director of Football. And there's a different type of director of football. If you ask me, there was at one of the clubs, he was kind of on the administration side of it, and at other clubs he was head of the recruitment side of it. Now, if you're head of recruitment, you need to have a bit of money to go and buy the players to help support the manager, and I don't know if Rangers have got the finances to go and do that. So I'm not too sure if a director of football is going to work at Rangers. Yeah,
finance is the key issue here, and it's something that former Rangers manager Ally McCoist was talking about today.
No, director of football is not going to help Rangers at this moment in time. And I think it's nonsense, absolute nonsense. Anybody that said that Rangers' troubles are they don't have a director of footballs, don't know what they're talking about. What Rangers needs investment and a plan. You know, they talk about the directors of football coming in. What a director of football needs if he comes in is finance and investment. So unless he gets that, you're just putting another wage onto Rangers Football Club. What they need a manager that can control the football club and be supported. And by that I mean getting investment and getting a chance to bring a better quality of player in to close the gap on Celtic. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that in the current state of Rangers at the moment, a director of football is not going to help them really. Not in the immediate future.
I don't think you can argue with Ally McCoist there, Ruffy, because quite simply this has always been, you know, you can spin it any way you want about how good a manager or a coach is, or the CV of a director of football at other clubs. You know, I don't want to use this glibly. You know, if he hasn't got the finances, you know, he would need a magic hat or a magic wand to transform Rangers right now, because money is the key.
Yeah, I think Barry's touched on it. You know, I'll work at some clubs that won't work at others. We've already heard Brendan Rodgers saying, I don't need one. You know, I've got a structure here that people are doing the jobs that are designated to do. So the director of football at Rangers has just come out of the air. You know, it looks good written on paper, but I think it's all about the manager. As Ali said there, the manager, the finance for the manager to bring in better players, because, I mean, director of football instantly is not going to win games. You know, he might be a structure 2 or 3 years down the road. Rangers want it now, the supporters want it now, they want success, they want that gap closed. So it's finance for me and a decent manager or coach.
Barry, unless the press are being led a merry dance, Pedro Caixinha seems to be the man that Rangers want. He's still not here, and maybe it's just the press putting the pressure on Rangers. Maybe he's due to come in after this Old Firm game. I mean, what's your take, first of all, on a foreign coach at the helm at Rangers?
Well, firstly, if he's the man that comes in and takes the job, I hope he does a really good job. If you're asking me, do I think it's the right person, I would have thought Rangers would have went for a Derek McInnes or somebody who's been there previously, like Ally McCoist, who's won trophies. But if I'm being honest, I don't know how it's going to work. I've been at the club when there's been a foreign manager coming in, and if I'm being honest, I think you get a shock to your system, what it was all about, what Scottish football's all about, what managing one of the Old Firm clubs is like. So the guy hopefully comes in and does a good job if he's the guy that Rangers pick, but I think he'll be in for a massive shock.
Yeah, there was a wry smile on your face there, and then it just twigged with me. You've been through every experience that Rangers could possibly muster. Of course, you're talking about Paul Le Guen. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think even Paul Le Guen had more money than what this potential new manager would have at his disposal.
Yeah, I read this morning in a paper there saying that the biggest thing that goes against Rangers at the moment is, and Barry probably know it, that the players don't get it. They don't get, what this game's all about, and it's too late to get it because the game's obviously done and dusted. There are a lot of players, who know exactly how serious the game is, and that's the thing that Rangers have got to do.
Yeah. What would you say too? I mean, would you be in favour of Graham Murty being in charge for this one? Do you think is that a worry, or is that just something you think would be ideal rather than a man coming in cold to what is the cauldron of a Celtic Rangers game?
I think you've got to leave Graham Murty in charge. I feel sorry for him because he's obviously got put in a horrible position. He had a couple of difficult results there, but he had a good result on Saturday. I've seen a couple of the Rangers players come out and said that he's done a good job on the training field. So I would tend to think that Rangers will leave him in charge, because for the new guy coming in and going to Parkhead, Celtic Park, where Celtic are absolute flying just now, it's going to be a difficult ask. So if it's me, I would like to see Graham Murty left in charge, and then whoever comes in, whether it be the Portuguese guy or somebody else, let them take the reins after that game. Yeah,
you've been a manager. What would you do if you were in charge going to Celtic Park with the squad that you have at the moment and the squad that you're facing at Celtic?
Well, as I said previously, Celtic are so hot just now. I watched their game against St Mirren, and to be fair, they never really done anything up until they scored that goal, and it do shows you when they don't play, they never played well, but all credit to St Mirren, to be honest with you. But once Celtic scored that first goal, the floodgates opened. So that's what I would think, that Rangers will go there with a game plan to keep it tight as long as they can. I think if Rangers go out and try and have a go at Celtic, I fear that Celtic could go and score a few goals. So I think Graham Murty is the best man to be left in charge. I think he'll go with a game plan to just try and keep it as tight. So the longer you keep Celtic quiet, because I heard a few grumbles when I was watching the Celtic and St Mirren game. The fans have not been used to that this season. They've been used to Celtic going out and taking teams apart. So I think you just need to look at Jack Ross's St Mirren's set-up and how he went against Celtic. I think Rangers will need to do a similar job.
Yeah. Let me put you in the shoes of the captain. Lee Wallace has got a job to do there. If you were the captain, Ruffy's talking about some players don't get it. What would be your words before they go out on Sunday?
Just make sure we don't get beat. It's simple. I mean, I know you're saying Lee Wallace is a captain. I look at the most experienced and the guy who's been there longer and won things and know what it's all about, and that's Kenny Miller. I'm sure he'll need to play a massive part this week. The guys now have played in a few Old Firm games. They know what it's all about. They know how powerful and strong Celtic are. And it's about going out there, and don't forget, you've got 9,000 fans to the right-hand side of you, and you've got to make sure they go home with some sort of pride in yourself. You've got to make sure that you stand up and be counted and compete and make sure you come away with something, because Rangers have got to come away with something this time.
Yeah.
They've got to.
And with the gap as it stands at the moment, when you look at where Rangers are, third, battling with Aberdeen for second, do you see the progress? Has there been the progress, or maybe the expectation is that has it outstripped the reality and put pressure on, Mark Warburton and the guy coming in as well?
Well, I think they had it all their own way last year in the Championship. Obviously, it was a cakewalk for them. They dominated that. And it's a different standard. You come up, you're against, no disrespect to Championship players, but you're up against a better quality, and the guys are going to be a lot fitter. And some of the players have struggled to that, and they've got expectations to meet as well. I don't think a lot of Rangers fans would have expected them to win the league, but they'd have expected them to get second place, and now they're fighting for second place. But that's all credit to Derek McInnes. He's done a fantastic job up there, but I still think they've got to get second place, or it'll be a disappointing season for Rangers.
Okay, you'll be happy to know I'm not going to ask you for your prediction in part one. I'll ask you for it in part two, and Ruffy will probably abstain until we get to the Friday. Coming up in the next part of the programme, we'll hear from Andy Walker on Celtic going into this game. We'll also hear from Kieran Tierney, and we'll also hear from Ray McKinnon as well. Taking you into the break, Arsene Wenger's under a little bit of pressure. Here's a wee question about the Gunners. Did you get it? Sol Campbell, the answer we were looking for from the 2006 Champions League final. They lost that one 2-1 to Barcelona. Since then, haven't been able to go to the latter stages of the Champions League. Arsene Wenger under a bit of pressure. We'll talk about that in a minute. But from the Rangers camp to Celtic, Andy Walker was alongside Ally McCoist today talking about the forthcoming Old Firm game. And he was quite clear on the difference in expectation between both sides and what Celtic are looking for.
I think the big trick for Celtic now is to keep this going. Celtic are, I think the rivalry with Rangers is a bit redundant at the moment. Celtic are miles ahead, and it used to be the case that you could compare Celtic and Rangers and make a team, you know, the best team out of the two sides, but I don't think anyone in the Rangers side could get close to getting a game for Celtic. So I think what Celtic are all about is doing it in the Champions League, making progress there. They've got their eyes on trophy after trophy domestically. And the secret is, even if they lose Dembele or Brendan Rodgers for that matter, you get players in that are as good as Dembele. You get a manager in that's as ambitious and as good as Brendan Rodgers. And try and keep it going for the supporters and try and make a mark in the Champions League.
Okay, the expectations might be different, but it's 90 minutes. It's 11 against 11, as the old cliche goes. If you were Graham Murty with a plan for the Rangers team, suddenly you've got a plan that you have to thwart certain players on that Celtic side as well. Would that be the key? Putting markers on, or just paying special attention to players that you think could do damage, Barry?
Before Rangers go out for the warm-up, I'd show them that video. That's what I would do. He's saying that none of the players are good enough to get in that team. That's the only motivation you need. He's probably right that a lot of them will get in it, but that's the only motivation you need when they're getting a bit of stick and people are saying things like that. That's what I would do if I was the captain or the manager. I would do something like that before the game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I know any video with Andy Walker in it would annoy me, and he's my pal. You know, I was.
I think Barry's played in enough games. I mean, Andy says they're miles ahead. Yeah, it might be miles ahead over the season, but not in a one-off game. Game. I mean, we were at the Ibrox game. I thought Rangers were terrific in the first 20-25 minutes, and if Dembele hadn't scored that goal just before half-time, who knows? Eventually, yes, they did go on and win the game, but our teams have went to Parkhead and did well for 45 minutes. But as we all know, Celtic have the quality to wear you down. It's just if you can get to that 45 minutes and get a bit of belief that you can take something out of the game.
Well, how critical is the first goal then in this one?
Oh, that's massive. It's massive. As I says, I think that the longer the Rangers can keep Celtic quiet, as I says, I heard a few grumbles when they weren't getting their own way against St Mirren on Sunday when I was watching the game on TV. That's the key for me. Then when the fans start to get on Celtic's back, because bear in mind, a lot of the Celtic players that are in this team just now have not really heard that. It's, as I said, they've been running over the top of teams for the start of the game until the finish of the game. So that'll be key, that they've got to make sure that they keep it quiet, they keep it tight. And as longer as the game goes on, you might be able to nick something, because as Ruffy said, it's a one-off game. Unless you've actually been involved in it, form goes out the window. I know Celtic are so far in front, and they deservedly should be, because they've been fantastic this season, but it's an Old Firm game, and it's 100 mile an hour. You just need to make sure you win that first tackle, first header, against whoever you're playing against.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle, to say at the very least. Just one other note that came out, obviously Craig Gordon is celebrating a new 3-year deal. Celtic confirmed that today. We were talking about it yesterday on the programme. He'll stay till 2020. Another fact confirmed by Celtic concerns the late Tommy Gemmell. The funeral cortege will leave Celtic Park at 11:30, where undoubtedly thousands of Celtic fans and other neutrals will want to pay their respects to a great player, and then the funeral service will take place at 12 o'clock. And a nice touch from Kieran Tierney, paying his respects to a man who's playing and has played in his position at number 3 for Celtic.
It's a very sad loss for Celtic football club as a whole, but he's a legend and he'll live on here forever. But he was a fullback and he grew up kind of the same area as me, so I can relate to him a lot, and he always idolised us Celtic people at him. He's a top player, and he's a legend at this club, and he always will be. So yeah, as I said, it's very sad for the club.
There will be a huge turnout for that one, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think when you go to most legends, there is a big turnout. I was at the Davy Cooper one, you know, I remember the streets lined for about 2 or 3 miles. I think it'll be the same with Tommy, you know. I think the fans respect players like that, you know, they are fans, guys, and I'm sure there'll be thousands there on Friday. Yeah,
let's talk about something that you've been well accustomed to, Champions League football. Talk about getting it in the neck. I mean, Arsene Wenger is a 5-1 hammering last night, albeit with 10 men in the park. But he's been absolutely savage down south, and I think Arsenal fans, you know, have had enough.
Yeah, I watched the game last night. I actually watched the build-up, and I seen there was fans outside the stadium. I know it was only a small group, but I don't like seeing that because the guy's been unbelievable for British football. He's had a phenomenal time in it down there. I know that he's not won a lot of trophies in the last 10 years, but you don't like to see a legend in the game getting abuse off the fans. And I felt from last night, because I thought Arsenal were different class in the first half. I thought they could have went in 2 or 3-0 up. They had the chances, and then the sending off just changes the game, and I felt for him.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I understand. I agree with Barry on this one. Bayern Munich can dismantle any side if you suddenly give them a man advantage, Ruffy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Arsenal in the position, they had to do something. You know, obviously, be the goals they lost in the first leg, and at the end of the game, it was just embarrassing. You know, defensively, but they're trying to win. They're trying to score goals for the fans, and they just never worked out.
Yeah, the game's up for him, though. I have to say. I mean, it doesn't matter what he does now. I think I think he's in an untenable position now. I think he'll be out in the summer. Yeah,
well, as Barry said, I would like it. I'd like it to be his decision. You know, I'd like him to come out and say, "Look, I've had a great time here. I hope you've had a great time. It's now, I've been here a long time. I need to move on." I think that's the way it should end. I don't think it should be like protests and banners and all that carry on. Yeah. He should be given the right to decide when he goes.
Yeah, wouldn't it be just like him to leave Arsenal and then join Barcelona and win the Champions League? You wouldn't be against it. I'll tell you one thing: if you are a football fan, you must be sitting in front of the television tonight, Barry Ferguson, thinking, can Barcelona overturn a 4-0 deficit against PSG in the Nou Camp?
Yeah, I can't wait. I love watching, as we were just talking about the Arsenal last night. I thought it was a great game. The players on show then. The night I watched the first game, PSG absolutely dominated the game and deservedly won the game 4-0. So I can't wait for it tonight. The amount of great players that will be on show, and you just can never bet against Barcelona because they've got some of the best players in the world. But PSG, they've got something to go and protect. But the last thing they should do is maybe sit back a bit deep, because you've got guys that can open doors easily. So it's one I'm looking forward to.
Yep. Can you see them do it? Yes or no?
Yep.
There you are, I'm happy with that. Ruffy, the other great thing about it as well, if we'd been Barry's best mates, we could have got an invite into the big cinema room, and watched the game there. It would have been fantastic, wouldn't it?
Popcorn, juice,
and the wife, tea, snacks, everything off the top drawer,
Yeah.
But just we couldn't get past security. It's as simple as that. Okay, I'm not letting you go with it. I'm not looking you here at the clock and I'm thinking, give us your prediction for Sunday, Celtic against Rangers.
Just put me on the spot. My heart or my head?
I'll take 2 of them. I'll let you away with it.
My heart says a Rangers win, obviously, but I think Celtic might just scrape it by a goal. I don't think it will be what people are making out. I mean, I've seen a few ex-players saying it's going to be a goal fest.
Yeah.
I just think, as we were speaking before, that Rangers need to go. They need to have a clear game plan to tighten up, because the 2 danger men are obviously Dumbelli and Sinclair. For me, has been the best player by a mile in Scotland, along with Scott Brown. I've got to say he's been good. I just hope Rangers go and do well.
Yeah, don't worry or get affected by Macca saying 8-0. We're going to have a word with him. We're going to have a word with him. Listen, it's been an absolute... Oh no, we've named him already. Don't worry about it. It's been an absolute joy speaking to Barry. Looking ahead to the Old Firm game, we'll get him back on the programme. We'll get a chance to get a wee insight into Barry in the future as well. Thanks to Barry Ferguson from Ruffy and myself. Join us tomorrow on the programme at 7 if you can. Thanks for watching. Good night.